Today's quote is entitled, "A devotee is always understanding." So a devotee is always very understanding if there is some discrepancy, behavior on the part of non-devotees, and even some devotees misbehave. He is always very tolerant and understanding. Letter, December 31, 1972. So, beautiful, beautiful quote. What Prabhupada is saying is, in a relationship, sometimes the tension is because we don't understand the other person. We don't understand why they did what they did or why they said what they said. And Prabhupada's saying, we need to understand that. In the studies I have read about teams, they said the most important quality of a team is to understand one another, to be able to feel what the other person's feeling. And you may not agree with what they're feeling, you may not agree with what they're thinking, you may not agree with how they respond to a situation, but the fact that you understand it makes a world of difference in a relationship. And that's what it means to have good relationships. Not necessarily agreeing, but being able to empathize and understand and feel for what the person is going through. Understand why a person would do something according to their reasoning, according to the way they see the world, how it makes sense to them. It may not make sense to you, but if you can see how it makes sense to them, you can be more empathetic to their situation, and that creates much better relationships. Whenever you say something like, I just don't understand why so-and-so does this or says that, reflect on that statement, because you're saying either I don't have the capacity to understand, which you actually do if you would try, or you're saying I don't want to understand, which I think is more common. We don't even want to try to understand because we disagree with it, because we've judged their actions as either inadequate or wrong or unjust or inferior to ours, or their understanding inferior, etc., which perhaps it may be, but in order to have a proper relationship, good relationship, in order for us to work together, sometimes we have to suspend those judgments and just try to understand why a person is doing something so we can be in their world, we can be a bit sympathetic, and then we can see the rationale. And even, as I said, even though we disagree, it creates a much better relationship because it's not an adverse relationship. We're not fighting. We're just presenting different sides, points of view. We're trying to understand one another. We're trying to understand what's best, but we're not trying to destroy one another. Because once we try to destroy one another, then how are we going to be able to get along? And maybe you and I have to go in different directions, but we shouldn't try to destroy one another. We have to work maybe separately. Maybe we can't work together. That happens. At least if we're kind and understanding and appreciative, then things can go on well. But if we're not, it degrades everything. And then we kind of bring ourselves down into the mode of passion to the level of the way most people are working. And then that becomes our destruction, or it becomes a major loss for us. Or I would say, in a sense, we're defeated because we know better and we know how to act better. And we should, as devotees, act in better ways. Hare Krishna. If you like this video, you can subscribe below. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you share this video with others, if you comment on it, if you like it, do whatever. You have to click to share it, because I think a lot of devotees would appreciate getting these videos. I try to take our philosophy and put it in a practical way so we know how to apply it in daily activity. And this is one of the services I do. And I want to reach as many devotees as possible. If you can help me, I'd appreciate it so much. Thank you.